Hello and welcome to the Kim Iversen Show. The alleged leaker of the Pentagon documents has been arrested and will be charged under the Espionage Act. Who is he? Well, his name is Jack Teixeira. He's a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman in the 102nd Intelligence Wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. His official job is Cyber Transport Systems Journeyman. And according to the Air Force, cyber transport systems specialists are tasked with making sure the vast global communications network is operating properly. So how did he get the documents? Well, we still don't know. The documents were top secret classified, but according to the Air Force, someone in his job position could have been given top secret access. His job was to maintain these cyber transport systems, which is the transfer of documents from one place, I guess, cyberly to another. So maybe he intercepted them, maybe he was given access to them, maybe the documents were handled about as carefully as the classified docs found in Joe Biden's garage. So how was he found? Well, supposedly it was the New York Times that actually figured out who he was, and I assume they gave him up to the authorities. They claimed that they followed a digital trail that he left behind, and then they were able to name him before the FBI. So how were they able to do it? Well, Jack is the leader of a small online gaming chat group called Thug Shaker Central that had about 20 to 30 users, mostly teens, mostly American, but some reportedly are foreigners. Now, Jack Teixeira was the leader of the group, the associates from the group said when they were asked. He apparently wanted all of his followers in the group to care more about foreign policy, or he wanted to gain clout. So that's why he started posting the documents. Now, apparently, the New York Times figured out it was Jack by looking at the photos of the Pentagon documents and then looking through the other photos that he posted on his site, on the Discord site, and then matched up the backgrounds. He apparently posted pics of him at home, and the countertops matched, as you can see there. And so these photos and the fact that he's one of the older users in the group with a military job and a military job that could possibly have access to these materials, it led them to Jack Teixeira. Some people apparently in the Discord group knew exactly what his name was and where he was located because there was enough trust in this small group that they shared these types of personal details. So it wasn't being very careful there. Now, apparently, there was then enough evidence for the FBI to arrest him after the New York Times investigation. Now, the Washington Post did an interview with one of the young members in the group, and this is what he had to say about Jack.
Would not call OG a whistleblower in the slightest. I don't think that there was a goal nor some sort of accomplishment that he was looking for in sharing these documents. Of course, there's some anti-government sentiment, but that's not unlike most right-wingers in the modern day and age. OG was not hostile to the U.S. government. However, he had disagreed with several occasions, such as Waco and Ruby Ridge, and thought that the government is overreaching in several aspects. There was no heavy Snowden-like conspiracy here, like some people may believe. People were reading them, and they were not commenting on them. They were just sitting there. I want to keep OG's identity secret because I still care for him like he's a family member. He is not a Russian operative. He is not a Ukrainian operative. I'll go as far to say he's not even on the east side of the world. Any claims that he is a Russian operative or pro-Russian is categorically false. He is not interested in helping any foreign agencies with their attack on the U.S. or other countries. He was a young, charismatic man who loved nature, God, who loved shooting guns and racing cars. He did have sort of a bossy attitude at some points, but it was more of a fatherly bossy. He did see himself as the leader of this group, and he was the leader of this group. And he wanted us all to be sort of super soldiers to some degree, informed, fit, with God, well-armed, stuff like that. It would appear as if he sort of grew angry with the fact that only one or two people were paying attention to these documents that he was pouring his heart out into. And as a sign of just anger, he just decided to post the full documents. He was a very smart man. There's no way in any world that he would not know that he knew that these were illegal.
Okay, so that was one of the associates apparently from the group. Clearly, that one saying, well, I don't want to give up his name, but somebody did apparently, or somebody apparently must have, or maybe he was really sloppy online. Not really sure exactly what information New York Times ended up getting to fully identify Jack Teixeira. But, you know, listen, it looks like this kid was just posting the docs to gain clout in his little group. But you can bet the security state is going to spin this to gain something. They're going to try to link him possibly to Russia, saying that, well, he wasn't the one that got these classified documents. Somebody in Russia gave them to him. And of course, they would use that narrative to continue the proxy war with more weapons and more money. They could be using, they could try, as you listen to that young man say, God, guns, they're clearly going to paint him as a right-winger. They're going to try to paint this as right-wing terrorists, or more specifically, they might say, oh, he was MAGA. He was totally MAGA. We found a MAGA hat. MAGA people need to be cracked down on. They're terrorists. These are the types of things they do. They expose state secrets. They could use this to crack down on the internet, which I think we'll see a lot of that. He posted these on Discord. It's one of those sites that is not really approved by the powers that be, and they would love nothing more but to shut it down. They view it as sort of a 4chan or 8chan or Twitter. So you know that they're going to be using this 21-year-old Jack Teixeira. They're going to be using him as a means to expand the security state in one way or another. Now, they're saying that Jack is not a whistleblower, but the documents he published were, in fact, of whistleblower quality. They contained information about the U.S. spying on its allies and truths about the war in Ukraine that are not being told by the media or the government. But rather than report on these important revelations, what's the media doing? Well, they're just going to continue to do what they were told, which is not report on the documents. You saw in the New York Times, you saw in that photograph we have of the countertops, how they matched up the countertops. That photograph there, see the document? That's one of the classified Pentagon documents. What did they do? They blurred it out so that we can't read it. Because if you remember on Monday, John Kirby told reporters not to report on the Pentagon documents. I think we have that clip.
Again, without confirming the validity of the documents, this is information that has no business in the public domain. It has no business, if you don't mind me saying, on the pages of front pages of newspapers or on television. It is not intended for public consumption, and it should not be out there.
This is an insane request for government to tell journalists not to report on something, especially something that, by the way, countered the narrative of what the government's been telling us, of what mainstream media has been telling us, the lies that we've been fed. These documents show otherwise. These documents show spying on allies, but don't report on that. Don't report on that. This is not for the public. Our lies are for us to know and not for you to find out about, so don't say anything about it. So this is an insane request for government to be asking this of journalists, but what's even more insane is that news organizations actually did what they were told. Watch this.
Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin live at the Pentagon this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Dana. The revelations have sent shockwaves through the Pentagon and the national security establishment, and sources tell me could be worse than the Edward Snowden leak because of the real-time effect on allies, their trust, and the war in Ukraine. Fox News has agreed, along with other news organizations, not to publish the leaked, highly classified documents, which were discovered last week. Details about the scope and scale of the leak remain sparse.
You hear that? Fox News, as well as other media outlets, have agreed to not publish these documents. You've got to be kidding me. Journalists are supposed to hold power to account. But instead, media has become completely infiltrated by CIA assets, which we can go deeper into the evidence of that on another show. But whether they're government assets or not, what we know is media is not only withholding information from the American people on behalf of the government, but now it appears they're actually conducting investigations on behalf of the authorities as well. Now, if Jack is convicted under the Espionage Act, he's likely to be sentenced to several years in prison. However, some on social media I've seen want a heavier sentence. They want perhaps life in prison, claiming he's a traitor to the country. Now, I understand classified information should remain classified, and I can respect it theoretically that it shouldn't be leaked, especially by those in these positions whom we trust with these types of government documents. But I think a larger discussion needs to be had, because as we've seen from the leaks of by Chelsea Manning and Edward Snowden, the real victims are the American people who are being lied to by our government. Who are the real traitors? The Americans who expose the fact our government feeds us false information to keep us in these endless wars, torturing prisoners, spying on us? Or is the real traitor our government for doing all of these things and lying to us about it? Well, we're experiencing out of control inflation, and that might have you nervous about what's going on with your retirement. And so maybe you're thinking it's good to diversify because you're not sure where the dollar is headed or where our economy is headed. And that might be a really smart move at the moment because we just don't know where things are going. Birch Gold can help you through this. They can help you diversify your accounts into precious metals, which are known for years and years and years and hundreds of years, very, very stable type of currency is gold. So if you want to get yourself into that and diversify your accounts, Birch Gold Group can help you. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of satisfied customers. When you contact them, a specialist will reach out. They'll really work with you on what is the best way for you to diversify your accounts. So maybe you want to get physical gold or silver that you want to hold in your own personal safe, or maybe you want to convert your existing IRA into an IRA in precious metals. Birch Gold Group can help you do that. So all you got to do is visit birchgold.com/Kim to get your free info kit and to chat with a specialist, and they'll walk you through it. So birchgold.com/Kim.